Finally. This is a satisfying finally for me. When Tudor announced the Pelagos 39 last August, I was excited. I actually had just bought a Pelagos LHD a month earlier and kind of surprised myself by how much I liked it. So I've been waiting for this. And this is only possible because a local collector offered it to me for this video. He also owns the 36mm Explorer that I did a comparison video on. So thank you, Michael. We would all have less knowledge and more money if it wasn't for you. It was only in May of this year that I saw my first Pelagos 39. In Vancouver, Canada, I met James Stacy of the Grey NATO and Hodinky. Super nice guy. I posted a photo of James's watch and everyone asked me when I was going to make a video about the watch. You'll have to ask him about the custom strap. I can't remember the name. There's already a lot of content about the Pelagos 39, but maybe as a standard Pelagos owner, I have a different perspective. Also, I'm just not normal. So I asked you all on Instagram and on a YouTube post what questions you had for me about the Pelagos 39, and you gave me a lot of questions, so thanks. But I warned you, if you question me about the size of my wrist, I would ban you. So if you're watching this video, congrats on surviving the cull. Everyone else is dead to me. But first, let me hit some facts about the Pelagos 39. The facts. The Pelagos 39 is made of grade 2 titanium, just like every other Pelagos. Sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, also like the other Pelagos watches. The 39 is indeed 39mm across at the case, but 40mm across, including the bezel. It's 11.8mm thick and 46.5mm long by my measurement. It weighs about 108 grams on the full bracelet, and like other Pelagos watches, it also comes with a rubber strap. It's water resistant to 200 meters and costs $4,600. Inside the watch is the MT5400 movement that's in dozens of time-only Black Bay watches, but this is the first Pelagos. It has 70 hours of power reserve and is certified as a chronometer by KOSK. That's the official Swiss Chronometer Testing Institute in English. I will not attempt the French pronunciation. I have enough trouble with my English talk-making words. On the wrist. I'm going to get into comparisons later, but first, let me try to describe how this watch wears on its own. In inches, my wrist is the quotient of dividing the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything by 6. Don't panic, that's 7. 7 inches. 39-ish millimeters across and just under 47 millimeters long. Outstanding size for a sports watch, really the sweet spot for me. And 11.8 millimeters thick. In dimensions, this is almost identical to my beloved Polar Explorer 16570 from 2008. And a size like this, I can wear every day for just about any occasion. And then there's the weight. Titanium is 40% lighter than steel, so on the wrist it feels very, very light. Several people asked me if I thought it felt too light. There is this phenomenon in watches, with some people, where if a watch feels light, it feels cheap, insubstantial. Some people want to feel all $4,600 on their wrist, and I get it. And I don't have that problem with this watch. I like how it feels. I like it a lot. Very comfortable, but still noticeable. Kinda perfect. This clasp has the Tudor T-Fit adjustment system. It allows you to set the bracelet to 4 different lengths. It's good, well built, and I will continue to prefer and praise other systems that don't make you take the watch off the wrist to change the length. But this T-Fit is very nice. A bunch of people asked me about sharp edges on the bracelet and clasp. I've been running my soft fingers all over this watch, and I haven't found any edges that seem like a problem, and these hands have never seen a day of hard labor in all their years. On my wrist, no issues with sharp edges at all. Everyone's geometry is a bit different, but I can't see this being a major issue for anyone. Okay, I think I can get to the rest of the topics using some comparisons. Versus the Black Bay 58. Admittedly, I've never owned a BB58, and I don't even have one with me to compare to, so this could be brief and ill-informed, which that might be a good epitaph for my gravestone. Let's see if we can make this happen somehow. The Black Bay 58 is a great watch. The specs, the price, all of that. But I just find it a little boring and a little too vintage inspired for my style. The rivets on the bracelet, the domed crystal, it's all really well done, but I much prefer the modern looking Pelagos 39. And yes, the Pelagos 39 is $600 more than the BB 58. You could say it's because it's titanium with a ceramic bezel, but you're not going to find an itemized breakdown of the cost. It doesn't matter. If you like the Pelagos 39 more, it's worth the extra money, and I do like it more than the 58. Versus the standard Pelagos. I have a Pelagos LHD, that's left-hand drive. It is the standard Pelagos in every way except that it's kind of upside down. Until the Pelagos FXD came out, the LHD was the only Pelagos size. The Pelagos case got a little thicker when Tudor put in in-house movements, but this is basically how it's been forever. My LHD is 42mm across at the bezel, 41mm at the case. It's 14.3mm thick and 50mm long. It has 500 meters of water resistance and a helium escape valve. If I ever need that valve, it's because I've made a huge mistake and you should probably get that gravestone ready. The standard Pelagos size is definitely too much for a lot of people. That's why the 39 is so exciting. But clearly, it's not too much for me. Not only that, but I prefer the larger watch on my 18cm wrist. Even as someone who owns bigger watches, I would not have expected that I'd prefer the thicker, longer watch on my wrist. But it's just more fun for me. And fun is a huge part of collecting. Emphasis on huge, I guess. And that's just the size differences. The 39 and the standard Pelagos also have a bunch of other differences. Let's start with the rubber straps. They feel the same to me. Both are too stiff. I wear mine and I like it, but I wish both were more supple. Now the bezels. Both watches have really sturdy 60-click bezels, but it seems to me that the 39's bezel clicks louder and harder. There is a definite difference here between these two bezels, and I think people will prefer the 39. The bezel grips are also larger on the 39. The teeth are bigger and there are fewer of them, and it does make the new bezel easier to grip. Both bezels are loomed in the same way, but the 39's loom is bluer while the LHD is greener, just slightly. That's kind of interesting. And some people asked me if the hands on the 39 have weaker loom than the markers, and yes, it looks that way. It seems like the loom on the 39's minute hand is weaker, especially as the loom loses its brightness. The minute's hand seems to go darker faster, and the seconds hands of both watches are weaker than the loom on the other hands. But we're still talking about the bezel, because that's a big difference between the 39 and the standard Pelagos. The finishing is different. The older watch has a matte ceramic finish, and it's kind of a very dark gray color on this watch and on the standard black Pelagos. The 39 has a radiant finish on the ceramic insert. And throughout this video, I've been trying to capture how it looks in different light. People, including me, have been very curious about this. This finishing is a bit controversial, which is silly, but it's true. In a lot of light, I don't see the brushing effect on the bezel. It takes a pretty direct light to see the kind of rays emanating outward. But in nearly all light, this bezel does look shinier than the bezel of the LHD and the other bigger Pelagos watches. It looks semi-glossy most of the time. My preference on bezel finishing is the standard matte bezel. But the 39 bezel, it's much less of an issue than I had originally thought. Then there are dial differences. The dials themselves are finished differently, different in a way similar to the bezels. The large watch has a matte texture with a dark gray dial. The new watch, the 39, has a black dial with some kind of glossy sunray effect. It's hard to pin down what this treatment is. And it's strange, the dial of the 39 actually has a dark brown appearance in the way it reflects light. I noticed this very subtle effect on James's watch and on this watch, and in some ways I'm not sure it's intentional in the design, and I don't like it. Another big difference is the markers. On the 39, the markers are simple slabs of luminescent material and applied to the dial. On the larger watch, the markers have surrounds, and most interestingly to me, they sit in these cutouts in the rehaut around the dial. I love this odd treatment, and I think it adds a lot of character to the LHD. The 39 to me looks more like a luxury watch. It's shinier, it's more elegant, maybe you could say it's more tasteful. I really think a better comparison to the 39 might be versus the Rolex No-Date Submariner. I don't even have footage of a no-date sub. I used to have one, but I never made a video about it, so this will be quick. Stylistically, I see a lot of commonalities between the 39 and the sub. The sizes are similar, the black glossy finishes are similar, their simplicity is similar. And if you like this look, I would absolutely consider comparing these two watches on your own. With the titanium and the added rubber strap, I think there's a good argument to be made for choosing the Pelagos over the sub. Now, a lot of people just want a Submariner, and if that's the case, the Pelagos just is not going to work. A proxy watch will never suffice. I learned that the hard way. But if you're just looking for a nice, black, elegant dive watch, yeah, save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money. I say go for the Pelagos 39. Yeah, but would I? A lot of people ask me if I will buy this watch, or if I didn't already have a Pelagos, would I buy this watch? Answering that properly would take a lot of math about parallel universes and the Large Hadron Collider and a set of 30-weight ball bearings, but my guess is no. I won't be buying this watch, and I wouldn't buy this even if I didn't have the larger Pelagos. Listen to me when I say this. I think this is a great watch. Arguably the best watch below $5,000 for a lot of people. But I ain't one of those people. It's great, it's just not for me. I want a little more character and energy in my watches. More personality. I guess I'm trying to compensate for my own. But once again, I have to reluctantly tell you that Tudor made another killer watch. And I think they have another winner because they're listening to their customers. For years, people wanted a smaller Pelagos, a smaller version of what I think is the best modern dive watch design. And they did it, and it's very good.